Today we're going to talk about the top 5 things that you need to survive in an SHTF situation. Now there's a multitude of things that really need to be done. I mean, you're talking about life, you're talking about survival. But if you're new to prepping, or even if you've been prepping for a while, these are the top 5 things to me that you need to consider. Now we're going to talk about the top 5, and then I'm going to give you 5 alternate things that honestly are just almost as important, but the top 5 is what we really need to look at, and I want to help you to focus on those top 5 things. Number 1 is get in shape. You know, we live a very sedentary lifestyle, and a lot of times we're not out and about, we're not doing a lot of hard work, and so you need to get in shape. Even if it's just walking on a regular basis, you can just start with that. Now for us, we have a treadmill, we have weights, we have a pool. I do a lot of swimming, and it really helps to keep me in shape. And those are low impact type things. But if you want to get out and really get in good shape, you know, you can even take classes, you can take exercise, you can go to the gym, you can start really working out. But just to get out and start exercising, you can go on hikes. That's a big one, it's a lot of fun, it's very enjoyable. So really number 1 is get yourself in shape, because if you have a crisis situation, your physical fitness is really going to be important. Number 2 is security and self-defense. Being ready to be able to defend what you have, defend your family. And honestly, number 1 is a flashlight. Having a really good flashlight that'll really shine and bright up a large area. Last night we had our driveway alarm went off 3 times. I mean, it just went off 3 times. And it's usually very reliable. So first thing I did, I got up, it was 1 in the morning, I got my big flashlight out, started shining it around from inside the house, just looking at the area around where our driveway alarm is. You know, it really lit up the area, and so that is a big part. And 2, you can use it as a self-defense weapon. I mean, there's a lot of things, but light will deter a lot of criminal activities or people around your place. But also, obviously, the best is having a firearm, and honestly, there's not really a substitute. Now, unfortunately, people live in different places, and sometimes you have a lot of restrictions. Here in the U.S., you know, we have a lot of availability to firearms, but in other countries that can be a problem. For me, if I only had 1 firearm, if that's all I could have, is a handgun. And the reason for that is because I can use it for my personal defense, I can use it to defend my family and my home, but I can also carry it wherever I go without drawing undue attention. So when you have a long gun, that can be a problem. I'm going to have a video annotated right above, and this is going to be the top 5 firearms you need to survive. They fit different roles, and so you can check that video out. But number 1, I would get a handgun. Also, a really good knife. Fixed blade knife is the best, but also just a good folding knife that's good quality. Also, pepper spray. You kind of have to look and see where you live, what the laws are, but you definitely need to protect your family, because honestly, self-defense is a basic human right. It's not just part of the Second Amendment. Number 3 is food and water. You need to have food, guys. I mean, having a month's supply of food is the minimum. One thing about having food put back ahead of time and water is that you don't have to go out. If crisis starts, if riots are happening, you can stay right there in your home and you can eat, and we have just experienced that. And the one thing about all of this is, guys, we have just experienced a lot of this on a low-key level. Now, unless you live in some major cities, you need to have your supplies at home. You need to have that food, and one thing that's really easy to do is just canned food or dried food, whether it's dried beans and rice or whether it's the different canned food that you eat. And one thing about that is that it lasts for a long time. So you can store that up. Make sure that you pick out foods that you like and you're going to eat. Make sure you try them. Make sure you test it before it comes down to where you're depending on that food to survive. And with water, you know, having water jugs, that's great, having water bottles. But what's more important is having a way to filter water. And the best source that I know, and one we've used for a number of years, is the Berkey filter system. And it's a big stainless steel cylinder. Each filter will filter out 3,000 gallons of water. We have the Imperial, it'll filter 12,000 gallons of water before we need to replace the filters. And we use it every day. We use it for our tea, our coffee, all the different things, cooking. We like to use that water. It takes out a lot of the the contaminants that are even in your regular drinking water. But if water supplies are shut down, which happens a lot of times when you have unrest, utilities are down, having a water source is extremely important. So food and water is number 3, and that's a big one. Now number 4 is medical supplies. Guys, if first responders are having a hard time getting to people, we've seen it right now with 911 calls. Sometimes it's an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, or none at all, no response. And so having your medical supplies, a tourniquet, compression gauze, chest seals, having a good trauma kit, but also having your regular basic medical things that you're going to need. Antacids, Benadryl, Imodium, your cough syrups, all the normal things, antibiotic ointment, your bandages, band-aids, things like that. Have a good, well-stocked medical kit. One of the resources that I depend on is Medical Gear Outfitters, and that's the Skinny Medic channel on YouTube. And they do a great job of really quality medical gear that you can trust. Also, AMP3, which is USN ER Doc. He's an emergency room doctor in Portland, Oregon, and he has really quality kits that he puts together as well. Number 5 is cash. Guys, having cash on hand. Now, right now, we're going through a coin shortage, and so people are using cash less and less because you're not getting change back. But having your cash set aside, and I would recommend having smaller bills, but have about $500 minimum of cash. Now, in a really bad economic situation, we can have hyperinflation and you can lose the value of your cash. But having that cash in case ATMs, in case card readers are down, you have cash to be able to get the supplies that you need in an emergency. But having cash is king, and you need to make sure you have it. But I would also supplement that with silver coins, whether it's junk silver or it's even walking liberties and things like that, because that's going to retain its value. It's going to protect your wealth. You may need to use that silver to be able to get you through, because a lot of times when economic situations happen, a lot of places open up to being able to accept silver as tender, and silver and cash. Now guys, those are the top 5, and get those taken care of first, and then you can move on to the next 5 that we're going to talk about. And the first on the list is power. You need to have some source of power, whether it's solar panels, whether it's a generator, and some kind of kerosene heater, or some kind of way to be able to keep yourself warm. Winter's coming at this point, but even during the summertime, it's great to have that power, and it's great to have the backups. And so there's a lot of choices out there, and you need to look at them, and it can be expensive. But a great way to go, again, is a solar battery backup, and then make sure that you have some kind of alternative heat source. And your standard battery backups are great to keep your phone charged, your flashlights, and different things that you're going to need. Number 2 is your communications. Now you have your phone, and that's great. But if cell service goes down, what are you going to do? And for me, we have ham radios, but we also have two-way radios. You got to have a ham license to be able to use a ham radio unless it's an emergency situation. So really, having ham radios you could use for both two-way radio and as a ham radio. Also, you can use a lot of internet services. A lot of times, internet is going to continue to run, and if it does, you're able to access Skype or Facebook, WeChat, you can email, and so you can get communication out. So think about those alternative ways to communicate, not just your phone. Number 3, tools. Having your basic tools like screwdrivers, hammers, wrenches, pliers, those are essential in everyday life, and they'll be even more essential when it comes down to doing repairs and making sure that you keep your stuff maintained. But also having shovels, axes, pickaxe, hatchets, saws, knives. Those are hand tools that can really come in handy. Plus, having a good chainsaw, and you want to have some fuel put back. So having those tools ready to go and having them maintained. Getting training. There's a lot of classes out there, medical training, firearms training, Red Cross. There's a lot of things you can do, but you can also train with what you have, and you can use the internet at this point right now to be able to learn and to get your skill level up. If you have a fire starter and you've never started fires, you need to get out and do that. You need to filter your water, try it out, see how it works. You need to get these things that you have and use them and learn how to train with them. Number 5 is a go bag, and you can call it a get home bag, a bug out bag, you can call it whatever you want to, but having your essentials, your survival essentials, having some tools in there, having a change of clothes, having your toiletries, just having a bag set aside that you can grab and go. Maybe some food items, maybe water filters, all those things that fall into survival. Now guys, this list was quick and there's a lot of things that apply to each and every item on this list. And we have a lot of videos out there where you can access them and look and see. And guys, the big thing is just to get started, get those top 5, and then you can start with the others. But you need to make sure that you're out there doing what you can. Now when it comes to like food, guys, just buy a little bit every week. And before long, you'll realize that you have a nice supply of food and toilet paper if you're really smart. And make sure you're buying your water and getting that filter system and getting those things together. And you can do it incrementally. You don't have to go out and spend thousands of dollars up front. But guys, if you don't have any of these things, you definitely need to kick it into gear, because we have seen 2020 is just crazy. And we don't know what can happen next. And 2021 may be great, may not. But it's always great to be prepared. So guys, here's the deal. We prepare to live. And that's the most important thing. And you need certain essential items to be able to achieve that goal. And if you're serious about prepping and survival, check out Survival Dispatch Insider, one of the best resources on the web. We upload one video that's exclusive to the Insider every week. I'll have a link down below in the description. Check it out. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. Today we're going to take a look at the top 5 things that you need to have in an SHTF. Today we're going to talk about 5 things that you need, and we're not talking about just but that'll give you that's definitely a hedge against, but that's definitely something that is also, because if you just have the stuff